Hey, what's up? I'm Zoe. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a very self-indulgent video. Like, this is for me, really. I am going to go through the whole off-campus series and talk about all of the couples, what I thought of them, what I liked and didn't like, and then ranking them. And then the really fun part, which was the main inspiration for this video, I am going to write, well, not really write it. Well, I could write it, but I'm not really gonna write it. If I were to write a fanfic that was pretty much like a 10 years later of off-campus people, this is how it would go. I know that there is an actual few years later story for this series, but we aren't talking about that here. I have not read it yet. So we're just gonna talk about mine because my opinion is the most important on my channel, right? Right. And again, this is literally just for fun. So this is kind of like a review, but also like me writing fanfiction. I don't think I can properly do this video without it being spoiler filled. So yes, spoilers. First up, we have The Deal, which is Hannah and Garrett's book. Garrett is the captain of the hockey team. He has one class that he is at risk of failing. And this is where Hannah comes in. She is very smart and she happens to be passing this class. And so Garrett finds this out and he's like, yo, you need to help me pass this class. So tutor me, please. There's no previous attraction between them. She is not like a puck bunny, which is what they call girls who are like obsessed with the hockey players. What I really loved about this pairing was the fact that they just made sense. They balanced each other. There wasn't much that I did not love about this couple. I think that I really enjoyed the book as I continue to go on, just how they transitioned from being like friends and even then to lovers. I just thought it all was just very natural, the progression. So when I did reach a point that I did not like, it was more on Garrett's side that I didn't like it. They did go through this period of time during the book where Hannah breaks up with Garrett because when Garrett's dad went to Hannah and pretty much said that like if they stay together, he's going to cut Garrett off and he won't have any money, he won't be able to live there, he won't be able to pay for tuition. And Hannah really didn't want that for him. They had only just started dating, so it wasn't like this was a relationship that had been going on for years or anything like that. Garrett doesn't really understand it at first. Like at first he's just kind of like, oh my gosh, like what happened here? How do we get from here to here? He kind of gets it stuck in his head that like, oh, she still loves me, like she's just lying, like whatever. But the thing about this whole situation that I did not like was the fact that he told every single guy on campus not to talk to Hannah, and I just thought that that was just way too far. I'm like, okay, listen dude, listen, even if you believe that this girl is still in love with you, you can't tell people not to talk to her. You can't tell her not to go on dates. If she wanted to come to him, she should have been able to come to him on her own time and like let him know what had happened and everything like that. But if she still wanted to at least entertain the idea of trying to see, well, is this a relationship that really is worth all of that, even if he is potentially cut off, I think she did deserve the time to go and do that. But I do love that Hannah called him out on it and was like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, stop. I hated at the end of it when she finally told him what went down with his dad and everything, that he just was kind of very smug about it and kind of laughed in her face. I don't need my dad to help me with that. Like, I have all of this figured out if you would have asked. It shows like you haven't been dating long enough for her to even know the intricate details of your financial situation. Like, that's how new the relationship was. But other than that, I really liked their relationship and dynamic, and like I thought they were cute. I feel like I need a drink to talk about the mistake, which is Logan and who? Logan and Grace. The story there's just so much I didn't like about this book. Logan has a crush on Hannah and he's trying to get over her. While he is trying to avoid her, he agrees to go to like one of his teammates' dorm or something to like hang out and watch movies. But he ends up at Grace's dorm instead, and they end up watching movies and things just kind of spiral from there. What I liked about this story, nothing. What I didn't like about this book, oh boy. Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. The first thing that we have to address about what I did not like about this book is the title. When you find out what the mistake was, I literally kind of read past the mistake and then I was like, wait, that was the mistake? Okay. So it starts off with Grace and Logan hanging out, and like eventually I think like he kisses her or something, and she tells her best friend, who is not really a great best friend at all. She's kind of trash as a best friend, and she doesn't really believe Grace when she tells her. So she tells her other friends who also don't believe Grace, and I guess one of the girls is friends, or no, her older sister is a puck bunny. She like makes this whole trending hashtag about Grace, saying that she's like a liar. First of all, how big is this school? She said that like she went into the cafeteria and people were looking at her like, oh my gosh, that's her. That feels very like a comparison to like what high school is, and that kind of took me out of the story because I was just like so fixated. I think the mistake was, I think it was that Logan came to see Grace one night and they were gonna do it. She was like really excited for it, but she told him like, okay, I'm not really looking for like anything deep. Like I don't per se need a relationship or anything like that. It's been a while, or maybe it was her first time. I can't remember. But either way, they were gonna do it. And then Logan tells her like, oh, I kind of am in love with this other girl. And like when I came over here, it was really because I was trying to avoid her. And Grace kind of flips out. She's like, wait a second, you're in love with someone else? And I'm just like that, like, wait a second, because I felt like I missed something in that whole transaction. If either of you really want anything to come from it, like, yeah, it would be fun to hang out, maybe something will come from it, but like it wasn't like they were going into that like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, it was a mistake, but it still was just like, maybe you should go, I need to think about this, and like being mad at him for like a week. But this girl does not talk to him for months because of that. Like she ignores his calls, she doesn't answer his text messages, all because of that. And I'm like, you hardly know each other, you only met like 3 times. The thing that I really hated in this book was how Hannah talked to Logan about his feelings. I do think that they needed to have a talk. I was expecting that to happen in this book, but the way that it happened just did not seem right to me, to me personally. Like I felt like that was a conversation that was very much led by Hannah, who I feel like should not have been the one leading the conversation. Logan should have been the one leading the conversation because he was the one with the feelings, especially in the part where Hannah decides that Logan wasn't really in love with her or didn't really like her a lot. He just liked the relationship that she had with Garrett. She said to him that he just liked seeing 2 people in love that he really cares about and admires and is friends with. Like he just liked seeing their relationship, and I'm just like, that makes no sense. Logan wanted to ask Hannah out before Garrett even realized fully that he was in like with her. His feelings weren't just over the fact that Garrett, you know, and her were in a relationship. They started developing before that, which is why I felt like they deserved a little bit more respect. Like the fact that all of this probably happened within the course of like an hour and a half. Him going to Grace's store, telling her they were about to do it, like telling her, and it like and then it goes to him at the house, and then him and Hannah having the talk, and then him calling Grace and being like, hey, the feelings are resolved now. Like what? And when she comes back to school and like she's not talking to Logan, she won't give him the time of day. How Logan was still even caring about this girl months later, I have no idea, because they hardly talked. Logan deserved so much more than that. I liked Logan a lot when I saw him in The Deal, like the little bits we saw of him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for his book. But I don't know, I gave them way too much time, so let's move on. Next we have The Score, which is Dean and Allie's book. Allie, she breaks up with her boyfriend and she needs somewhere to stay because she doesn't want to give in to him again, because I guess they make up a lot, and she's like, no, this is the final time, I'm not doing this. Hannah says that she can go and stay at the boys' house, even though her and Garrett are off on a vacation with Logan and Grace, I'm pretty sure, which, okay. So they're off doing whatever, and so Allie goes and she stays at the house. She ends up sleeping with Dean, and we pretty much go from there. What did I love? Literally everything. I thought they had a lot of fun, and I loved their energies towards each other when it came to sex, and I just thought they were very compatible. I also like that they actually had to go through shit. Like during this book, one of Dean's friends ends up passing away, and he goes through such a low throughout this book, and he really does lose quite a few things, including Allie. Dean having to have to pull himself together and win her back, also getting his life back on track, and all of the commitments that he let fall through during his time of grief. What didn't I love? Nothing. I think this one was my fastest read. I could not put it down, but there was one thing that I did find confusing about this book. I wonder if maybe the author changed her mind halfway through, but it definitely seemed like, from what we saw in the previous 2 books, that Dean's girl was going to be Sabrina. And that's mainly because, like, there was even this scene, I'm pretty sure, in The Mistake, that they're at a party or something, and I'm pretty sure that Sabrina ends up having like a little argument with Dean, and like they have like this kind of sexual tension between them. And so I really thought that Sabrina was going to be his girl, even though I know the series has been around for a while and I already knew who the couples were going to be, but I did. So I was a little confused, but that's it. That's all that I had an objection about. So our last story is for Tucker and Sabrina. Sabrina and Tucker, they were hooking up and then she gets pregnant. That's about all you need to know. I loved their chemistry. I loved how they met and just how like they first hooked up. I loved one of their first dates when they went to that paint class. I thought that was so cute and actually showed them getting like a foundation. I think this was like the first couple that actually was going on dates. Even when Sabrina found out that she was pregnant, she still was like, hey, I'm gonna find a way to make this work. I am determined to go to Harvard. That determination in her, I loved. As much as I like this book, there was also quite a few things I didn't like. I didn't like how Tucker very much turned into a stalker kind of there. No, he was a stalker there. He would like follow Sabrina home without her knowing he was following her home, and he would like stay there and like sleep in his car. It was weird. Dean's reaction to Tucker and Sabrina having a baby, him and Sabrina did not really get along. I felt like it was just like playful banter between them. I didn't really think it was as serious as he made it out to be in the end. So it was really weird that he carried on for so long and his relationship with Tucker really suffered because of that. Why, like, they don't like each other, which happened to be because of a class, and she thought that he was getting preferential treatment because I guess he slept with the TA. I feel like that is something that makes sense that she would think that, but I don't think that it made her such a horrible person that Dean acted the way he was. And you would think after everything that he went through in his own book that he would be a little bit more, but no, it was very all about him, and it just didn't make sense, and no one really could understand what was happening. And then when him and Sabrina finally came around to talking to each other, it was very weird still how he approached her, and I'm like, she's pregnant, why are you approaching her like that? I also didn't like Sabrina living at home for as long as she did. Her home situation was horrible and definitely was a situation she should not have been in as long as she was. I also didn't like that it took them so long to confess their feelings for each other. You really get to the last fourth of the book and then they're like confessing to each other that they like each other, love each other. And the random drama with his mama, I could not understand that either. That was just very left field and it was unnecessary. It did not need to be thrown in there at all. So first up we have my ranking of the girls, and last place is Grace. I just felt like she didn't leave a lasting impression. Even to this day, I can't tell you what she even was going to school for. I don't know much about her personality. I feel like she was just very much just molding to whatever she felt like she had to be, and like it wasn't anything that was very distinctive. Even the whole radio show thing wasn't really her. It was just kind of a thing she did. Next up we have Allie. I really liked Allie, but I don't know, she wasn't like my girl. Of course Hannah's number 2, I mean that's my girl, and then Sabrina is obviously number 1. I don't know, I really liked Sabrina as soon as she was introduced. I just loved her attitude, I loved her determination, and yeah, like sure she did some things that I didn't love, but you know. Now if we rank the guys, and this one we're gonna go opposite. So my number 1 guy is Garrett, my number 2 guy is Logan, my number 3 guy is Tucker, and that means my least favorite guy was Dean. Dean would have definitely probably been like competing for #1 spot if it wasn't for what happened during Tucker and Sabrina's book. I'm sorry, I just did not like how he was behaving. Me trying to tell him how to feel. Now we're gonna rank the couples. So my least favorite couple is of course Logan and Grace. Like next is Tucker and Sabrina, and Hannah and Garrett, and of course that leaves my favorite couple to being Dean and Allie. And I know Dean was my least favorite guy, but I still do like their relationship. I still like how they overcame things, and I still did like, you know, how they ended and how they worked together. And yes, is something that no one asked me to do. No one asked me to write this fan fiction. No one asked me to write a masterpiece for you, but I am going to tell you exactly how I would write it if I was allowed to get on AO3, if there was a tag for the off-campus series, and I could write you my future fic. Once again, I have to say I did not read The Legacy. If anything correlates, hey, my mind, but I really doubt anything is. I don't even think I did the same type of time jump. For me, I picked 6 years later because I don't know, 6 just kind of had a ring to it. Setup of this book is it's 6 years later and they are all going to the wedding of Tucker and Sabrina. They're finally getting married, so that's what's happening. All right, we're gonna go through the couples and I'm gonna tell you where they all are 6 years after. We're gonna go in order of the books again. So Hannah and Garrett. Okay, so they're married. Their engagement happened 2 years prior during a vacation somewhere exotic. Wedding was somewhat impulsive and only had a very few close friends and family in attendance. I can't remember what Hannah's job prospects were from the book, but I'm pretty sure she's thriving in whatever career she's in. They're trying to have a baby but have been unsuccessful so far. Also, Garrett is in the bridal party. Yes. We have Logan and Grace. Except Logan and Grace broke up 3 years prior. You definitely saw it coming, right? You knew I was gonna do that, right? Logan is single and has been dating around. Nothing has really been sticking in relationships. He dates them for a few months maybe, but nothing really serious has happened or taken off. He's also in the bridal party. Dean and Allie. So because I told you I had this headcanon that I thought that Dean was going to like work extra hard to get up to Tucker for all of the time that he was being an asshole during their book, so I kind of picture Dean being the best man. Tucker comes and he helps Dean with coaching and stuff like that with his hockey team, and little baby Jamie would come with Tucker whenever he would go to the things. And as for Dean and Allie's relationship, so the way that I see it is they are still dating. See, I'm nice, but I definitely see them having tension between them because Allie is now filming in California. There's definitely tension and they definitely need to have a talk, but they never really get to have those talks because whenever she comes home, all they do is like just have sex all the time because, you know. So now that we have like the drama for like the couple set up, going back to Logan, since he's single, I definitely see him kind of coming in and out of the story, brought into conversations with either Dean or Garrett or both of them, listening to like the drama that's going on in their lives. He ends up talking with one of Sabrina's friends from Harvard, and this happens to be the girl that he ends up being paired up with because he is third in line. So it's Dean, Garrett, and then it would be Logan at the end. So it's Sabrina's 2 friends who are mentioned in the story, and then her one best friend from Harvard who is paired up with Logan. That's who he's gonna walk down the aisle with, right? You're picturing it. So he starts cracking jokes and she thinks he's really funny, and they end up hooking up multiple times. They aren't really looking for a relationship. They're both very busy with their careers. They discover towards the end of the story that they live near each other, kind of, and they were like, well, let's not say that we're gonna do anything or like we're gonna go out or anything, but like if it's meant to be, I think we'll cross paths again. Now let's get into Sabrina and Tucker finally. Now obviously they're getting married. Sabrina is now a lawyer, finally settled into her position at her law firm, which was a big part of why she didn't want to get married previously, because she didn't want that to be a distraction from everything that she was doing when they already had Jamie. Tucker is still successful with his bars. He has a few different locations now. He also helps coach for the local hockey team, and Jamie also comes to practice for that. 7 now, and she's showing interest in figure skating, and everyone loves it and is super supportive, and Tucker is like the best girl dad ever. They're pretty much a happy family, and like it's mainly fluff from them because I feel like I was deprived of that in the main story. The thing that I wanted to implement in between them is that they have better communication. Like they're definitely a family that tells each other their feelings. Even Jamie, like she always tells them exactly how she's feeling about something. Like if she doesn't like something, she lets them know right away. And so I wanted them to have like that level of communication with each other. So during my story, Sabrina is almost 4 months pregnant as this is happening and when the wedding is happening. I wanted to keep it a secret because they didn't want to bring it up, because Hannah has been struggling with getting pregnant, and her and Sabrina definitely connected on that, and she like expressed it to her. So Sabrina just kind of felt weird kind of bringing that up when it's already the wedding day. But eventually they do end up having the conversation because the girls start noticing that like Sabrina isn't drinking a lot, or Tucker is secretly taking all of her shots and things like that. Because like they try to like hide it, but then she eventually tells them, and then they announce it at the wedding reception. Everyone is super happy for them, and like they're like doubly celebrating. The epilogue would be a longer chapter, like it would be a very thick chapter. It would take place 2 months later. Hannah finds out that she is pregnant. I kind of picture her doing the test by herself because, you know, Garrett's off, you know, doing hockey things. She finds a creative way to tell Garrett, and then they find creative ways to tell their friends. And because I love watching videos like that on YouTube of people telling their friends they're pregnant. I think they're entertaining. I don't know. They come up with some pretty creative ways to tell people. For the story to end with them having a baby shower together and everyone coming together again. I feel a little unhinged for doing that, but that was really fun. I could picture the whole thing in my head. I hope you liked my fanfic. Obviously there would be like a lot more storylines and like in-betweens of the weekend. I like a little weekend story. Logan and Grace, I'm sorry, but I don't really see them lasting at all. And I don't really know what I would have the final conclusion be of Dean and Allie. I don't know, because I haven't written it. Obviously I'm not going to write it, but it's just like the rough outline and thought. Will I do this again in the future? Probably. That's enough talking for today. I really hope you liked this. I just really wanted to talk about the series, and I thought it was fun, and this is really just a video for me, but I'm sharing it with you. And if I keep doing them, I might just have to come up with a name for this, but this is fun. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. What can I do when I'm